Alright, welcome back, guys, for another Carnage Marauder guide for 4.0. Alright, so not a lot has changed since my 3.0 guide. A lot of the utilities have since then, but basically for really all the classes in 4.0, none of the basic rotations have changed. All they've added is little subtle things like a little increase, like Carnage got a dot on Ravage. And, you know, we all got a new skill that is for mobility. So for us, it's the Mad Dash. You know, for Mercs, it's the Jet Out. So, anyway, so I will cover all the basics again. The unique thing about the Carnage Marauder particularly is that it is a hybrid spec. It is good at sustained DPS and good at burst DPS. We're the only class that has ones besides the snipers. They got their hybrid spec of engineering. Same concept, but for PvP in particular, it's a very good spec to play. Because again, you got the sustained DPS and you can burst when you need to destroy your targets. So the basic rotation that I use is jumping in. I use your gap closers, you got predation, you got force charge, and you got mad dash, and you also got force camo. So you got 4 ways to get in there good. So, but starting off your rotation, you want to activate dual saber throw. This will proc your 6-second bonus of an auto crit on vicious throw. Then you want to force charge in. And what I do is I do a massacre to proc my devastating blast and vicious throw. Then I will berserk, not only for the increased alacrity, but your 4 set piece bonus. When you activate berserk, you get 3% damage. And then I'll hit battering assault. Again, that'll batter the target, and your 2 set bonus, it'll increase your damage by 3% for a few seconds. So then you go into your burst phase. So all that was your setup phase. Then you go into your burst phase, and your main burst phase that you want to do is gore, devastating blast, and vicious throw. That is your burst. You can do about 30k depending on your target. I average doing about 30k, maybe about 35k. Depending on how you gear. Then what I'll do is I'll ravage and I'll massacre to get that extra damage off. Then basically your filler between your burst phase is just spam and massacre. Now there are a couple other, actually I'll show you what that looks like and then explain some other rotations that you can use. So dual saber throw, force charge, massacre, berserk, battering assault, gore, devastating blast, vicious throw. And then you just spam massacre. And do whatever you need to do to maintain your rage. Alright, so that is what the rotation looks like. So that's what it looks like. Now, I did a lot of theory crafting with some other Marauders on what other rotations to use. So one of the good ones is situational dictating is gore, ravage, devastating blast. Now, it will parse higher. However, you have to remember it's all about timing. You need to make sure you have berserk up so that you can actually fit it all in the berserk, the gore window. Also, you got to remember PvP is a volatile situation. Everything's constantly moving and flowing. So you can either get shut down a lot easier doing it that way, or somebody can just slip out and run away. So if you think you can get it off, and even I do sometimes, do that and you'll actually get higher DPS. Another thing that we talked about is actually doing a vicious throw. As it's in the air, you hit gore, then you hit devastating blast, and then you hit Massacre. So you'll have those 3 things in your gore window. What that does is, apparently, since Vicious Throw is still in the air when you hit your gore, that it'll still count once it hits the target. It'll still count as being within that gore window. I've only done a couple times. That is a very, I haven't got used to it yet, so you know, I mess it up. So I haven't really tried it that much in PvP. I've done it on the dummy a few times. The thing to know though, the closer you are to your target, the less airtime that Vicious Throw will have. So like if I'm right here, you see there was no flight time right there. It just auto hit him. So that is another thing you need to be pay attention to, is how close you are if you want to do that. Alright, so talking about the new utility now, I'm sorry, the new skill, Mad Dash. Mad Dash is a pretty nifty skill. It gives us another gap closer, or if you need to transverse, say a bridge in Voidstone, you don't want to get knocked off, well you activate it, because while you're mad dashing, your defense chances increase by 100%. So basically, while you're mad dashing, you are immune. Again, it is also an AoE damage ability, so it is good for fluff damage if you want to, if you can hit a bunch of people at the same time with it and then force charge back to your target. Or if you're taking a lot of burst damage and you need to absorb some damage, it's good to use Mad Dash again, because you will be immune to damage. It's like a, for instance, like a PT, they throw their thermal detonator on a scrapper or a concealment op, and you'll see that when it's about to blow up, they'll roll, and since they get the same thing, they get the defense chance on their roll, they absorb all that damage. So things like that makes Mad Dash pretty good. I will say that Mad Dash looks 1,000 times better on the Marauder than it does the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut looks kind of ridiculous, but the Marauder looks pretty cool. So here's the ability. Let's move on to utilities. I'll explain the new utilities as well as why I didn't get them. So I basically use the same utilities as I did before. So for the skillful tree, it's Brazen. Increases your damage reduction by 2% and builds 2 Fury when attacked. The Fury building effect cannot occur more than once every 1.5 seconds. Must have. Fury is a central, integral part of your DPS. Being able to use Berserk. So, plus you get a little bit extra damage reduction, always helpful. I still get the Ravage route, Overwhelm. I like having that control, being able to ravage somebody, especially if you are planning to do, you know, the Gore, Ravage, Devastating Blast. It's good to hold them in place so they can't slip out of it. Inexorable. Inexorable used to be a Jug talent. It's called Unyielding. They changed the name because they also, what they did is added to this ability was added the, reduces the Unleash cooldown, which is your CC breaker, by 30 seconds. This is central. You generate full rage whenever you're CC, rooted, control, knockback, anything like that. This in PvP is a must, because without it, you're going to be hurting for rage a lot. And so this gives us that rage that we need. Another good one is Maiming Reach. I personally don't get it. The only time I really ever use Crippling Slash is when I'm either fighting a healer or the target I'm trying to kill is being healed. So then I'll do a Crippling Slash for that trauma defect. But so that's the only reason I use it, so I don't really have another reason to use it. I guess some for fluff damage. If they slip away, you want to throw your Crippling Slash. So the new one is called Unflinching Determination. Basically, it's a 6-second CC immunity once you activate Saber Ward. I don't get this because Saber Ward is on a 3-minute cooldown. It's not worth it. Maybe in an arena, it might be useful, depending on how you play. So like if you do a lot of like solo ranked, it might be a good utility to take. But for normal rig AV8 war zones, it's I feel it's kind of a waste. Moving down to Masterful, I still get Relentless. Predation no longer consumes Fury, and will go on a 30-second cooldown. It's a must. Allows you to use Berserk a lot more than having to waste your Fury on a Predation. And I also get Phantom. Phantom increases your movement speed by 15 seconds, increases your movement speed bonus in Force Camo by 20 seconds, and increases your duration of Force Camo by 2 seconds. This really makes Force Camo a very versatile utility. You can use it as offensive cooldown, defensive cooldown. If you're taking too much heat, you can get out of dodge. If you're trying to catch a target, especially a ranged DPSer, and you don't want to be hit while trying to catch the target, it's very good to get up close to them. Another thing, especially snipers, being able to zoom up, because basically it makes you undetectable. It's not like stealth where you can be seen. You cannot be seen. A sniper cannot see you once you Force Camo. So there's a lot of good things. Sometimes you'll see me use it just because I notice I'm taking all the damage, and I'll pop it real quick just so that I drop target from everybody. That way I can stay in the fight a lot longer. So the new one over here is Thirst for Rage. Bloodthirst generates 12 rage when activated. Now, first of all, remember that Bloodthirst is on a 4-minute cooldown. It also requires Fury to activate. So I don't really, there's few and far time between that I actually even use Bloodthirst. And if it just so happens, you know, on, say, lately the only time I've really ever used it is I still have a full stack of Fury in like a Void Star and the round switch. So then I not only do I have a stack of Fury, but I also still have my Frenzy off cooldown. So then I have 2 stacks of Fury. That's about the only time that I ever do it. If it's something that you use all the time, then it is good to get. But other than that, I mean, remember, it's only 12 rage, and you know, Bloodthirst is on a 4-minute cooldown. So moving on to Heroic, I get Expunging Camouflage. Force Camo removes all cleansable effects, so basically it's a rule breaker. Again, this adds to the utility of Force Camo, being able to get up on somebody when they rooted you, or escaping when they're trying to kill you. It just completes the circle for Force Camo. The other thing I get is Unbound. Predation is applied. It purges all impairing effects. Sorry. Additionally, the movement speed bonus of Predation is increased by 30%. So that makes Predation a total of 80%. Using that, it really makes it Predation a very good ability. Not only is it on a 30-second cooldown, but it's super speed and it purges roots. So that is why I get that one. Very versatile skill. The new one is Through Victory, which makes Mad Dash usable to basically purge roots. Again, I get these two because A, this one's on a 30-second cooldown, which Mad Dash is 45-second cooldown. Plus I like using Force Camo a lot better. So personally I go with these two, but pretty much all these three are the same utility. It's just depending on how you play and what you want to your playstyle and what you want to get. So, but personally, these are mine, and again, that's what I go with. So moving on to gearing. So what I've done, first I'll talk about my augment. So what I went with is main or mastery augment. I still call it main stat augments, but mastery augments. The reason I did that is because A, I wanted to maintain my base non-crit power so that I could have high, you know, bonus damage, as well as increase my critical chance. So as you can see, that gives me a 35.5 critical chance, sacrifice is if I use power augments or even critical augments. Now, a lot of people, what they've done is they use crit augments so that they have very high critical and very high critical multiplier. However, their base damage is lower. I personally haven't tested that. I feel like in the future they may end up putting a diminishing return on critical, and all those people are going to have to re-aug anyway. I'm not saying they are. They might do that. 2, some people are using a mixture of power, or either all power augments, or a mixture of power and critical augments. Because if you use power augments over mastery augments, you will have a higher bonus damage. However, your critical chance will be lower. So I don't understand. People swear by mixing power and critical augments instead of just getting mastery augments for the same purpose. I don't know. That may be something I might experiment. I was theory crafting, like I said yesterday, with some other Marauders. I will see exactly how they are geared. One of those Marauders is actually going to put this on the forums, so he can explain his piece in the body. So, but yeah, so those are the augments I went with. I may end up changing them later, and if I do, I will make sure I put a note on the video that, hey, I've changed to this. Now for your stats, what I've done is I've gotten so I was trying to achieve 5% alacrity. I still feel like I may end up boosting up one more piece. I have to see. Right now I do feel a little sluggish, but so right now I have, you know, only 4.67, and with the way the stats curve against your level, that's why this is dropped, as well as I get 5% accuracy. Accuracy is a must. Remember that every player class has a 5% defense chance, except for Sorks. They get a 10%, and obviously any tank that's stacked defensive chance. So defensive chance works against your white damage, so you're going to need some accuracy to offset it. And again, anything like Saber Ward, fighting somebody with Saber Ward, and you know, deflection, any ability, any defensive cooldown, it'll help you fight through that. So it really does help in that regards. Now, you're going to have to play with your stats a little bit to figure out where exactly how many pieces you need, because what they've done, for those of you that didn't notice, your same character, when you logged in at the launch of 4.0, you'll see that, like, if you had an accuracy piece, your actually stats were a lot higher than they were. It's because of the curve they built in between 60 to 65. Having the same gear, it'll actually lower down eventually. So that's the reason behind that. But yeah, so that basically concludes the basics of the 4.0 Carnage Marauder. Let me do another rotation for you. If you have any questions or comments and suggestions on what to do, please post them in the comments and I will look them over, and if anything, I'll do some tests on my own. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all next time.